Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of DJ Coffee Talk. Today we share a cup of coffee with Ethan Ramos. Ethan is a Tucson-based artist who has produced and performed hip-hop music since he was in high school. However, Ethan recently immersed himself into the world of EDM and has created the alias of SUEDE. His ability to pick up the art of mixing a wide range of music has allowed for Ethan to gain residency at an up-and-coming EDM venue in Tucson, General Benz, and landed him an upcoming slot for the GOAT Subtronics when he came to the Rialto in Tucson. We dive into music history, his perspective on music and philosophy, as well as explore his musings and the meaning behind his artistic expression.
Here's a sneak peek of Lucid Dreams, a song that Ethan wrote and produced under his own name, Ethan Ramos. You can start to hear the electronic musings by the sounds he uses in his production. We also picked this song as Ethan's sneak peek because his lyrics in the song touch on a lot of the topics we go into depth with him in the episode, such as destiny, trying to be present in the moments that make up our lives, the problem of drug use as coping, and seeing life as a blessing overall. Enjoy the song, make sure to check out his SoundCloud, Ethan Ramos, but don't go too far because we jump into conversation right after the song. Enjoy.
Lucid dreaming, I've been fighting and scheming. I will control my destiny. I don't think you feel what I feel. Always caught up in these moments. Pass me by, I stand still. Can't sit and take it, oh no. I need a breath, don't need pills. Lucid dreaming, I've been fighting and scheming. I will control my destiny. I don't think you feel what I feel. Always caught up in these moments. Pass me by, I stand still. Can't sit and take it, oh no. I need the breath, don't need pills. My mind been switching direction. Feel this flow, hit detection. I'm never missing, not stressing. I see this life as a blessing. And for you, I would do anything. So would you come through? Let's switch the scene. Ay, they don't really see what I see. Vision 4K, E480p. I'm doing alright, don't worry about me. Cause he's gon' find what this life really mean. Stuck in between what I want, what I need. Stuck in my feels and I'm feeling so G. Flow so ill, so appealing to these. Niggas stop down, I'ma dream shit, please. Just leave me the fuck alone. I don't got what you need, nigga, go home. I been in my zone, cooped up on my own. About to set trends, make waves in the ocean. Oh shit, Tucson, what it do? 5 to the 2 and I make it say, oh. Chakra's the line, so divine my flow. Lucid dreaming, I've been fighting and scheming. I will control my destiny. I don't think you feel what I feel. Always
Cheers.
Cheers. Sweet.
We have Ethan Ramos here. He is a local musician. Can't really put a label on this guy because he does multiple things. He originally is a rap R&B artist who also, where we got to know him as DJ here locally in Tucson, has an alter ego as SUEDE and does primarily house, but
Yeah. I mean, it started as house. It's like transitioning to more like bass music, rhythm. That's kind of where I'm finding myself, just because the energy's there. You know, I mean, the energy's there in house too. Don't get me wrong, but just after going to different shows and stuff, you kind of just want to adapt and just kind of. I don't want to put myself in a box quite yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So definitely started at house though.
Yeah, and I think that's what I appreciate most going and seeing some of your shows is like you're not pinpointed. You're not going to a SUEDE show and knowing exactly what you're going to get. Even if it's primarily house, you're going to throw in. You're really good at like mixing in like throwbacks and like a bunch of different genres in with house.
I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's just because like, so if I was playing a festival or like a big show, obviously if I only have an hour-long set, I want to keep it pretty consistent and kind of give people different tastes of like what they're kind of expecting. Mm-hmm. But when I'm playing at somewhere like General Benz, you know, if it's a 3-hour set, I don't want to just play 3 hours of tech house. Because I go to shows like that, I'm like, dude, like, I need something different. Different. Exactly. Or 3 hours of rhythm, I'm like, bro, like, I have a headache, you know?
Yeah,
so
my neck hurts. Like, it's like...
Yeah, exactly. So I think giving people, you know, there's obviously going to be people there that love house, people that hate house, people that love, you know, hip-hop and want throwbacks. Some people want reggaeton, you know what I mean? So I kind of like to give people a little bit of everything when I'm playing at Benz, but especially Benz, but yeah.
How much do you have... your ideas of what the set's going to be going into it? How much have you learned about like reading the room? Is that a big thing?
Yeah. Honestly, man, like when I first started at Benz, I had no plan. Like I started like mid-pandemic, so I started DJing there last November. So it was like still everyone was sitting down at tables, and that kind of put me in the mindset of like, damn, well, I'm playing for people sitting down that want to stand up. So like, you know, no disrespect to Rich, the owner of bands, but I kind of want people to like get out of their seats, you know what I mean, and move a little bit. So I kind of had to learn how to read the room from the beginning. And I think that's something that has helped me a lot too, because now it's like I just go up there and freestyle my whole set. But, you know, at first it wasn't always the easiest. I was just playing shit that I thought sounded cool. And so now I like to do what I want to do, but also give people a little bit of what they want to. So it's kind of finding that balance between the two.
That kind of come along with just getting more skin in the game and more confidence. Yeah. Like I can read the relationship at this point.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you start to see a lot of the regulars too, like especially playing there, you know, consistently. And I've like pretty much had residencies there since November. So since the first week I started playing there, I played every single week since, you know, so knock on wood, like that's just been a huge opportunity. It's opened so many doors for me that I literally had no idea was going to happen at all. But yeah, man, reading the room is just a huge thing for anybody.
And we were talking kind of pre-interview a couple months back, but I was really amazed at how relatively quickly you picked up DJing and how like it's not easily, sorry, that's not the right word, but it's come to you and
majestically. I don't know, that's a weird word for it.
No, I feel you though.
Smoothly. It happened quickly, so
yeah. Well, I appreciate it. I also agree too. I don't think it's like we were just talking about before we started this. It's not something that I think anyone should try it if it's something that you kind of want to get into, you want to pick it up or whatever. But you know, with producing for years, with you know doing the rap and the R&B and stuff, it was kind of an easy segue into DJing. I love house music. I've always loved EDM. So it was kind of easy for me to transition from producing. But also, like, if you were just to pick up DJing as, like, a fun thing and expect to be playing huge shows in the year or whatever, like, it's not going to – most of the times it's not going to happen, you know? Like, which is funny. It's kind of ironic I say that because I did, you know, open up for Cascade virtually. Yeah. Recently played the Wookiee show, and then August 25th, so in like a month or so, I'm going to be opening up for Subtronics too, which is dope.
Fuck yeah. We should cheers again to that.
So thank you.
That was such a big announcement, dude. Congratulations.
Thank you, man. No, I'm super excited. I just saw him play at Dead Beats a couple weeks ago. Yeah. And that was my first time seeing him live. So just seeing him, like, the way he can control a crowd of like 20,000 people, you know, like there was a rain delay and everything, but people were just so hyped to see him, and the energy that he brought was so just immaculate, you know? So
right on.
Seeing that to be like, damn, dude, in a month I'm about to open up for this fucking guy. Like that's crazy, you know? So
sick.
I'm hyped.
An artist like him, I think the like music really speaks for itself, because I thought he was okay. Yeah. But really when I started getting into him was during virtual sets, which usually it's kind of backwards. You can see somebody live, it's like, oh shit. But some of his virtual sets, the music was just so mesmerizing. I'm like, this guy's fucking crazy.
Straight up, like just like the live sets he's doing. I think he did one with like Insomniac too. Like those are insane, you know, because we're just all at home like just raging on the couch. Like fuck, you don't want to get back out. So from seeing that, I mean, I was kind of the same, but I didn't really love his music until I saw it live, and I was like, dude, like this guy's fucking nuts. So it's just a blessing to be able to be in the position. Shout out Up and Up for hooking out a love, but yeah, I'm excited for that.
They seem like a really cool organization.
Yeah, no, they're definitely tapped in. They're a bunch of cool people. You know, it's like the homie Nathan and Tomer, they've done a lot to like organize just these events, you know, just even booking Subtronics alone, like that's a huge thing. And for somewhere like the Rialto, like that's it. And it's during Silly Week too. So it's like everyone's gonna be coming back, everyone's gonna want shit to do, and Subtronics is playing, so it's just
I think it's going to be pretty full. I think it's going to be big night.
Yeah. I mean, I know. I hope the ticket sales are going well and everything. I'm just trying to push it and keep everything moving, you know? So
yeah, I don't care. I'm going to be there. Subtronics and you guys all opening up for Subtronics. Like, that's something you can't miss.
Yeah, dude. Like, the homie Half Dead, Michael and Gabe, they're opening. My homie and roommate Isaiah Haji's opening as well. And then it's going to be me and then Dennett, who's another good friend. So it's like literally just the whole squad opening for Subtronics. Like, that's such a memorable milestone for us, so.
Big moves, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick.
And is that for you guys in the scene right now and producing and things like that and DJing? Is that promising? Seeing a lot of bigger names actually not just coming to Tucson, because I mean, I think Rich and Specto has been really smart about bringing people into bands, but now moving into like opening up people at the Rialto and like bigger venues like that. That's got to be.
I mean, I think it's definitely it's a power move for the city for sure, especially in the scene too. So. The thing, just to like side tangent a little bit. So the difference between like the hip hop community and the EDM community is like, I mean, there's egos involved in both, you know. But in the rap game, it's like who has the best bars, like who's stepping on the most toes, like who's hot right now, and who's going to keep that flame burning, you know. As opposed to with EDM, it's really about like the culture and the family, not to be cheesy, but like plur, you know what I mean? Like going to rap festivals and raves, like that culture, it does exist, you know what I mean? And it carries through the music and through the shows and just the people you meet, the connections you establish. So that's what I do love about the EDM scene as opposed to the hip hop scene. Cause, you know, people like, I don't even know, like just like Travis Scott's played at Rialto. I'm pretty sure 2 Chainz has played at Rialto. I'm like, that's dope. Like they come and they go.
Right.
But for someone like Subtronics to come and play at Rialto, you know, it just opens the floodgate for an entire new wave of people to come through and do their thing there too. So it's definitely dope exposure for Tucson.
Yeah. I about lost my mind when I heard that song Holo was opening up at the Rialto. I
didn't even know it was.
Shit.
Damn.
Yeah. November, I think.
That's be crazy too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sick.
But I did want to ask you about kind of the idea of like making music and working as an alter ego. Do you think that was when you decided to make that choice? Was that something you felt was needed to have a separate identity to work on different types of music? I
mean, in the moment when I made that decision, I think so. Like looking back on it, maybe I didn't need to do it as much, but at the same time, like I think of people like K Tronada. K Tronada is one of my favorite like producer DJs, and I think he does a really good job of blending hip hop and, you know, EDM, like or house music, whatever. But in my case, like I want to make, you know, like R&B soul songs, and I want to make hip hop songs. But then if I want to make like a bass house song or like, you know, some rhythm or whatever, I just feel like it's too much. I'm just throwing shit at a wall at that point. So I feel like to separate them, it kind of gives me an opportunity to pick and choose. Like, so I don't have to box myself in, and I can still be creative, but I can kind of just come from a different place. You know what I mean?
Sure.
If that makes sense. So, yeah.
How much of being an artist is throwing shit at the wall?
It's all, dude. That's all it is. Being an artist, that's all it is, really. I mean, I think there's organization and structure that every artist or producer or whatever needs to work on, which I'm terrible at, which is why I've been taking forever to put out music and shit, just because stuff pops up all the time. But, I mean, with that, I think it really is just throwing shit at a wall, because you think you might want to make, like, a tech house song, but then you realize maybe I'm better off making a bass house song or some weird, wonky dubstep. Like, you never know. So I think it's like, you got to kind of find your inspirations, pick and choose from what you want to sound like. Right. And, I mean, I don't want to say copy or steal, but you got to kind of imitate the greats and then kind of twist it and make it your own, you know? Right. So, yeah, dude, you got to just do it, I guess.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because how much of that is part of what you try to do is just do it? Because it seems like that essentially with getting into EDM and DJing, that's what you did. You just like put your mind to it and did it.
I mean, that's what it was, dude. Like, if, you know, thank God for COVID, I guess, because if that never happened, I would have never picked up DJing. Like, I wouldn't have bought my first SB3, and then I wouldn't have been in my room just sitting there learning how to do this shit. Yeah. And so, because of that, I was just fucking around, you know? Like, I was not going to take it serious at all. And then I was like, well, I know I have a bunch of friends that, you know, spin at Ben's. And so I'm like, cool, I'll just see what I can do, kind of finesse that somehow, dude. And we're here now. So, I mean, it works.
That makes you think about some of the, you know, opportunities that may lie in front of you.
Yeah, but you're just like, not acknowledging for whatever reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what saying yes can do, you know, just trying things.
Yeah, that reminds me of, like, I don't know if you guys seen the movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
I saw that during COVID too. Probably, I don't know if it was around the same time, but just thinking about it, like...
Direct correlation.
No, for real, I can't say that, but just thinking about that in retrospect, like, you know, there are people that are very closed-minded and they want to say no because they feel like they're not ready or they're just shy or whatever. And I mean... to each their own, but if you don't learn to say yes to opportunities or even say yes to yourself, you're just shutting those doors before they're even open to you. You know what I mean? So I think kind of just fucking freeballing it, just trying to figure all this shit out on my own. It's been dope to just say yes to as many opportunities as possible. Because I think if you get too big headed or too like if your ego is in front of you to like too much, if you just you're just going to shut down opportunities that could lead you to the next step. Like, you know, it's
well, to try something new, do you think it requires you to be a bit of a fool at it, be kind of bad at it in the beginning, and then that hurts the ego because the ego says, I'm great at everything. Yeah, exactly, it's like, I don't want to die a little bit so I can fit into this
but I feel like through the failures, you kind of experience that ego death, and then you become more of yourself, like your true self, not to get too like,
that is welcome here. Go for it. Yeah, you can get as esoteric as you want, sir.
Love it. I'm in the right place there. No, I think that's dope, though, you know, because I think that's something that every artist struggles with, too, no matter what field or career like you're in. It's like you have this battle of, am I a real artist? Am I a fake artist? You know, like, and I think the best artists kind of deal with that, like, well, is my art even art? Like, is it really coming from my heart, or do I think it's coming from my heart? So I think that internal dialogue is what creates some of the best art, you know, because I think it's easy to make a song when you're happy, but to make a song when you're sad and it really comes from a true place, then it's just fucking, it's that much better, you know?
Has that been a mission in your work? Because I've noticed that a lot in your hip hop, where it comes from this deeper, more emotional
Well, that's
space.
the thing. I think it's the music that I think sounds the best, especially with my hip hop stuff, comes from that place in my heart where it's like, this is a real scenario, or it's based on a true story that I've been through, and it's something that meant a lot to me. You know, when the skies are blue and everything's good, it's like, do I even want to write a song right now? Versus when I'm going through shit, I'm like, dude, like, my life's falling apart. I need to focus on music. It always just kind of clears my head, and that's what I think the best art is created through. Is just like that pain and that struggle that you go through on a daily basis, honestly. At least for hip hop, like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it kind of transforms it into something beautiful, that process of putting the sweat and the tears and saying, hey, this might be complicated, but let's make it something beautiful.
Exactly. You know, because then you get to take all that shit that's bottled up and you can package it, put it into something, and then let's say you put out a song. You know, I put out some music, and I'm not saying I, have reached hundreds of thousands of people or whatever, but like the people that my music, like the people that have connected with the stuff that I've said in my songs, it's been great feedback from people like, dude, like, I really felt this, like I was going through a similar situation with my girlfriend or just with myself, and the stuff that you said, like I could really relate to, and hearing that from other people, I'm getting goosebumps right now because it really,
I'm getting goosebumps.
It really makes you feel like you're doing this for a purpose that's bigger than just yourself, as opposed to if I was just putting out songs that sound cool and I'm talking about shit that I haven't done or things that, then it's just a different like demographic, different everything. So
you feel like there's more strength in that ultimately too, because you're not flexing like you're someone you're not.
More strength and like
because you're allowing for that vulnerability to be like, this is who I am as SUEDE.
Exactly.
It creates that genuine relationship with your artist, which I've noticed looking at your SoundCloud, even the followers you have and the engagement you have on that profile is pretty high.
Dude, appreciate it. I mean, it's just like I think the loyalty lies in not even just the connection I've established with the I don't even want to call them fans. It's more like a family, I've always felt weird about calling like my followers or supporters fans because it's like, what are you, a fan of? You're a fan of my struggle? Because that's just what I'm putting in my music, so it's kind of weird. Yeah. But the people that support me, it's just like a family, it's very open. And it's just like, I like to say thank you to people that say, yo, that shit's dope. Like, I'm not ever going to be like, I don't have time for you or whatever, because I think it's just like, it's kind of whack in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still in Tucson. I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, it's like, I'm not Drake, you know what I mean? So, that's different.
That resonates a lot, though, because it seems like some of my favorite artists are like, have that mentality of, hey, let's figure this out together. It's not like, I've got my shit together, and, it's like...
And like, fuck you if you don't. I think that's shit so whack. And it's like all the artists that I really look up to kind of have that same mentality, even from people like San Holo to someone like Rex, like Raj. I don't know if you guys know that. He's from Berkeley, California, I think. Dope hip-hop artist. To even people like Russ. Like, Russ is a very arrogant rapper, but he's still, like, connected to his fans, and he's built that up from the ground, so, yeah.
You brought us something interesting. A while back, you mentioned, like, what a song you consider to be art, what to you wouldn't be considered art. How do you make that distinction? What would you consider to be art? Like, how do you define what is art?
I mean, I don't know if you can really, because it's like art imitates life and life imitates art, and it's just a cycle. So it kind of just depends on how you feel. Because I have hundreds of songs that I probably will never put out that people will be like, dude, like, this is my favorite song you've ever made. But to me, it's not, just because of, like, just the little things, So it's all art at the end of the day. I don't think you can ever say that someone's creative process isn't art, because it's subjectively true to them, or maybe it's not. Whatever it is, it's cool to them, or however they want to look at it. It's like, I don't know. I think it just comes down to you and kind of how you feel about your art and what you want to, what legacy you want to leave behind.
It's kind of fully a feeling when you decide, I'm going to release this. I'm going to release this song right now.
What do you mean?
Like when you're tinkering for a while and then you say, I'm going to release this one, as opposed to the 80 other ones that I'm kind of playing around with. It's like you're in your workshop and like, this one's going to go.
Dude, and it sucks because it's like because right now I have just so much music that I want to put out, and I will eventually. I just need to get to it. But it's deciding what I want to put out next and what I want to follow after that. It's like, that's the part of the creative process that I struggle with the most personally, is because I have all this shit that I think is cool and I think people can relate to for sure. But in what order do I want it to be released? And I think I get caught up in the overthinking and that like analysis paralysis where like, I know I have so much shit to do, but because I know I have so much shit to do, I don't know how to prioritize what's important. You know what I mean? That's something that I'm dealing with. But especially with the whole SUEDE and then Ethan Ramos thing, it's like, now I got these balls that I'm juggling. So
You're balancing two artists' work.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially. But I think that's where, the love and the passion comes through. Because if I wasn't passionate about it, it'd be hard enough to do it for one person, So trying to balance both, at least it keeps me busy enough to say that I'm not like bored with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Isn't it nice to have the ability to like pick up a different, like if you're struggling with DJing or doing something EDM, to be able to go and just switch over to a whole different genre?
Dude, absolutely.
Mix up the creative juices a little bit.
I think so. I think it helps it too, because you can find, I personally will find inspiration in things outside of music, for music all the time, So if I just played a show where I played primarily dubstep or rhythm, like going home and playing my guitar and then making like an R&B, like sad song about a girl, like that might have been what I needed. Or I might have seen something happen at Joe Benz or wherever that inspires something that or relates to some story I've been through. You know what I mean? So you just never know where the next thing's going to come from, I guess.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And that was one of the questions I did want to ask you, because some of the lyrics you have in your songs seem very personal. So do you draw a lot of your lyrics from actual experiences?
Yeah, most definitely. I think, that's the thing too. A lot of the songs that I've shelved, like I might have been going for a more melodic thing where I was trying to write something that was catchy, but it's like almost like when I try to write something that sounds cool, I don't want to put it out because it's not as authentic as it could be, Right. So I think when I'm going through shit, I'm going through the trials and tribulations, like just the ups and the downs, like I find the best work through those struggles because it's shit that I have actually been through and it's real. And I feel like people can really relate to that, But it's definitely not for everyone.
Right.
Some people love Lil Uzi and Future, and I do too.
Right.
At certain times, but that's just not what I bump every day,
So I do it all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know, because there are definitely some people out there, and to each their own. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Some people will stick to a very specific genre. Some people are very specific artists all the time. Like, that would drive me insane.
Yeah, no, for sure. I can't do it. I'm starting to get into a lot of like indie rock and alternative stuff too. And being a house rhythm DJ who also makes R&B and rap, it's like you wouldn't think that I like indie, but like, dude, that shit's cool as fuck. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's dope. So I feel you though. I could not stick to just one genre or one sound for too long. It just would be pretty, it gets drowned out.
You mentioned playing guitar. When did you pick up instruments? Like, are you?
So in middle school, I picked up viola just because I was like, dude,
fuck.
Yeah, I was like, I tried to play violin, but I'm left-handed, so I was like, the viola felt naturally better for me. That was short-lived. Picked up the trumpet, which is cool, and I wish I would have picked up saxophone during that time, man, because the sax is so dope.
The sax is the sexiest instrument.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, sax and jazz is just it's so fucking good, So I wish I had picked that up then, especially hearing the likes of, like, FKJ and Masego. It's so good, So I'm like, fuck, dude, like, but, it's never too late. Hopefully in the future I pick up one. But, yeah, I started with viola, then was a trumpet, put them down, got into sports, was playing, like, just, baseball and football and stuff like that. And then towards high school, towards like my junior, senior year, started getting to like writing lyrics and rapping. And I put out my first song on SoundCloud, and then didn't really pick up any instruments until I was telling you guys earlier. I left school to go to Chicago. So then in Chicago, I met some really cool people out there. Staying with my homie Dave, and his parents were super supportive, like letting us just like use their basement to just be loud as fuck until 4 a.m. and just creating. So I was just out there, met some dope people who inspired me to learn how to produce. So then that's when I got into like just trying to just make beats, just make 8-bar loops and figure all that out. And so then I naturally was like, well, I don't really know how to play chord progressions or anything. So I picked up the keys and kind of self-taught on that, just learning theory and stuff like that, just online. And then picked up my guitar not too long ago. I had an acoustic for a couple years, didn't really do anything with it. And then I bought a Telecaster, and since then, like now I can actually plug it into my interface and fuck with it a little bit. It's so much more fun. So,
it's a game. I think it's a game changer. It gives you so much more.
Oh, absolutely. And then it's like recording an acoustic guitar into a mic isn't always the way I want shit to sound. You know what I mean? Yeah. So being able to mess with amps and stuff and pedals, it adds a whole new level or a whole new like dimension to it.
So fun. I think I love the acoustic guitar. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you have to have a very much a different level of dedication if you want to get good with practicing and being good at it. And I think being able to just like tweak and have toys and be able to like add layers and
absolutely, because I don't know how to play guitar, but I can find a chord progression I think sounds dope, and I can make it sound cool enough to where I can build something off of that. So
I've always wondered, and it's not like you mentioned, like I think at one point you want to pick up the saxophone.
Yeah.
Do you feel like playing instruments? Not that it comes easy to you, but do you think that, like you say, like I don't know how to play the guitar, but I can like make things happen on the guitar. Do you think the instillment of music is something that's always been in you? Something that's been
maybe like rhythm and sound and like just piecing things together, but. It took some time to actually learn like the theory and learning to play in scale. And then once you kind of learn the rules, you can break them a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that part I definitely had to learn and reteach myself. But I feel like if you have music in you, it's just because you've always wanted to explore it. You're just allowing yourself to be creative and kind of be vulnerable enough to explore it,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the same thing with people who love to paint or are great at painting or drawing. It's like they've always had it in them. They're just vulnerable enough to fuck up enough times to where they're like, okay, now I kind of got my own style and my own kind of swagger with it, So I think it just depends on the person. But yeah, maybe I'd say it's always been in me, or maybe I just forced it. I don't know. But I'd like to think that it's something that it's a part of my path and it's part of the reason why I'm here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think the story about when you moved out to Chicago is really interesting. What was the deciding factor? And can you walk us through like what that whole experience was about, what you might have learned from it?
Absolutely, yeah. And I'll just keep it a buck. Like, I was just, kind of like, U of A is definitely notorious for partying and stuff like that too. So as much music I was making, I was also like at a bunch of parties and not really around the most creative people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was living at Luna right by like campus and stuff too. So, I'm sure you guys have been there. It's just, there's always shit going on. So I was getting caught up a lot more stuff that I didn't want to be doing as opposed to focusing and grinding. Mm-hmm. And so my homie Dave, shout out Dave, he makes EDM. He's also DJing now and he's been killing it out in Chicago. Right. But, he kind of gave me the opportunity. He was like, dude, like, do you want to come with me in Chicago? Just like make this shit happen. We're like working on a clothing line that kind of failed at the time and just both getting into music. And so I was like, we might as well. It's summer. No one's even going to be here. So like, what else am I going to do? Yeah. So I moved up there, lived there for about a year. And then as big as Chicago is, it's really all about who you know. And I was like, well, in Tucson, I have somewhat of a foundation. It was a very, very flaky or very, like, not a good foundation at all, but I knew some people, I knew I could come back and play a show, and from there, I kind of figured it out, which is literally what has happened. Mm-hmm. But, moving out there, it was I can either stay in Tucson and I can deal with all the things that are going to keep bogging me down and keeping me from progressing, or I can take this leap of faith, go live out there for a little bit, and at the very least, I have experience. Like I said, I lived in Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking back, you think of it as a valuable experience.
Absolutely, dude. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't have had that, like, the alone time I needed to really make the decision whether this was something that I could fuck around with the rest of my life or something I could commit to and really, really do.
That's interesting because, you hear that similar story, not the exact same story, obviously, but a similar story of an artist going away, trying to go to an environment that's a little more creatively fostering. Yeah. But it does seem like a make or break type situation. Like,
dude, absolutely.
You double down and you're like, fuck yeah, this is what I'm doing. Or you're like, maybe this ain't for me.
Especially because I dropped out of school with the intention of like, oh, dude, I'll just like play a show, then from there I'll get booked for more shows. And like, being that naive artist, you think like the world is yours at the palm of your hand. I'm not saying it's not, but it's also not as easy as it looks. Yeah, to develop that stage presence that you need, that confidence, like, or even the ability to do it as a DJ or as an artist, because they're completely different worlds, but they coincide so well, So it's like you were saying, that time away just from all the bullshit and all the noise and just the negative comments from people or just the opinions of my parents even. Because I think that's something that a lot of people get caught up in too is like, well, my mom wants me to be an accountant or my dad wants me a lawyer, but I want to pursue music. And they obviously don't agree with that. It's like, yeah, you could do what they want you to do and you'll be fine. Right. But if you stick to your own path and you trust in yourself and trust in whatever you believe in, like, shit, you might just manifest your destiny. You know what I mean? You might make it come true. So I think that that's something that everybody has to kind of deal with within themselves. And it takes a certain kind of person in a way to just nut up or shut up and trust in that ability, just from what I've learned and from the people I've met. So
it sounds like that period is when it may have happened for you in Chicago, but was there any more specific events while you were there that
while I was in Chicago? Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, I went to Lollapalooza out there. So that was my first, I had been to, a desert rave, and I went to Wet Electric, and I was there both in 2017. then when I went to Lollapalooza in 2017, that was a huge moment for me. Because I was like, dude, like, I'm like, this is the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. Just a bunch of people your age, like, for the same thing, you know, music. And there it's like hip hop. Like, I saw like Lil Yachty, but then I saw Russ, and then I also saw like Porter Robinson and Jai Wolf, you know what I mean? And then when I saw that and the types of people that were in those crowds as opposed to like Lil Yachty or whatever, like, it was just a completely different atmosphere. And that's when I was like, it really just opened my eyes. Like, I love both. And I could do both. Like, there's nothing that's going to stop me besides myself, you know? That was, I think, I never really thought about it like this. But that was definitely a huge, like, pivotal moment for me where I was like, damn, like, this is what I want to do with my life. Yeah. Chance the Rapper performed too. And, like, in 2017, he was at the top, you know? So in Chicago, like, seeing all that. Yeah, it was just, like, the place to be. And that, all those experiences collectively made me, like, really double down on myself.
That's cool. I love all of those. I haven't been. That's like at the top of that's my dream to go to all of those.
So sick.
Chicago.
Yeah,
like,
so sick.
It's just such a good. I don't know who picks the lineups for those shows.
They're doing something right.
It's a perfect blend of like genres.
Yeah, even this year it's sick. I forgot who's on it, but I was checking it out a couple days ago. It looks dope.
Did they announce?
They did. Yeah, a few of my friends are going. I really don't remember who's on it, but I know it's gonna be fire.
That's the thing is like you could like that's the type of festival you can. Buy pre-sale tickets, not even worried about it. It's going to be a good show.
Straight up. That's kind of what I was trying to like think of doing with the Gold Rush. I didn't really know because it didn't happen last year, so I was like, I don't really know who's going to be on the lineup.
Right.
But I ended up not getting the pre-sale tickets, and then I entered that competition that just came out too. But I was like, so we'll see what's up with that. But the lineup looks dope for Gold Rush too, so I'm excited for that. I'll be there regardless.
You want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, we can talk about it.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty cool experience. How does it work?
The competition. So essentially, like, you just submit a mix on SoundCloud, like a 30-minute mix or whatever. And I don't know how they really pick it, but basically if you get selected in like the top 10 or 15 or something like that, then you get to go play at this club Aura in Tempe. And I think between those people, just based off like crowd engagement and like stage presence and your technical skills or whatever, they're just going to judge you. And then if they choose you, you know? So
that's cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. We'll see what happens. So, but yeah.
Have you done any sort of like competition like that before?
Nah, dude, that was the first mix I actually ever made. So It's crazy too the way I finesse like my way into General Benz, because usually you gotta like submit your mix through Rich, but dude, I'm telling you, the power of networking is just so strong because if I just wasn't social or if I wasn't practicing enough, you know, I think it's like a lot of people are one-sided. You can be the best networker, but you're not putting in enough work in the studio or vice versa, and you're missing a complete chunk of what you need to actually do it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I was just kind of in the right place at the right time. Pandemic was kind of wrapping up, and they were looking for DJs, and I was like, dude, I'll do it. Like, and so he's like, cool. Next Tuesday, next Thursday, come over. Played my first set, was a success, and then ever since then, you know, just little by little, just been keeping it going.
Yeah. Was that just you being you feel like that was you being in the right room at the right time type
Pretty
of
much,
thing?
Yeah, just with the right people, I guess. You know, just speaking in existence, like telling my friends, like, yo, like, I'm going to be doing that in a year. And then 3 months later, I was doing it, you know? So it was sick, man. And I'm really grateful for that because if I had to start playing at Ben's, you know, obviously wouldn't have met you guys, wouldn't have been able to open up for Subtronics or let alone Cascade and Wookie, which I've already done, both super cool guys. Like, it's crazy, man. So shout out Rich, too. Shout out Rich for that. He's the homie, for sure.
I think that man's got a good idea going. Like,
for sure. Yeah. He's thinking about doing some cool stuff, too. I won't talk about it because it's still, like, in the works, but he definitely is. He's a forward-thinking person, for sure.
Mm-hmm. He's got his finger on the pulse.
Absolutely.
I think you can tell by how popular that place is getting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's doing something right, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, shit. I had a question and I just blanked.
What happens?
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. This happens at least once in the
It's all good.
It'll happen.
Did you have one?
I can boot one. Give me a second.
Oh, good lord.
Oh my, what's going on here? I mean, I'd like to even dive in a bit into your history in hip hop, you know.
Cool, let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's extensive. You've been doing it, you know, for a while. You have a lot of, you know, you can tell you put a lot of thought and emotion into your music, which is really interesting to to listen to and be part of.
Appreciate that you can like feel it through the music. That's the whole point. So.
Definitely, man. I wanted to stop on a couple of your songs. Initially, Land of Thieves. Behind the production of that, I see you did a collaboration with Ricky McLovin.
Dude, that's my homie. Yeah, shout out Ricky, bro.
Who did he create the beat for that? Was that you?
He wasn't on Land of Thieves. We made a few songs together. Okay. Land of Thieves, I produced that one myself. Okay. Well, yeah, no, I produced that beat myself and then just wrote those lyrics. But I worked on a couple of songs with Ricky. We have Frequency. I don't know if you've heard Frequency. That one's good. That's one that he put out. We've actually played a bunch of shows together too, and like have a ton of stuff unreleased. And we made like a separate SoundCloud and like drop music through that too, just like to remain anonymous, but like have the music out somewhere. I won't speak too much on that, but yeah, no, that's my homie. Like we put in a lot of work. We lived together for a while, and we're just like grinding like every day for months. So we definitely both helped push each other. And he I think I showed him more like the hip hop and like percussion stuff, but he was playing guitar long before I was, so he kind of put me on to like the live instruments, and the blend between the two it's been dope. And he has a lot of cool music that's been coming out too. So, so yeah, he's the homie for sure.
For sure, man.
It seems like you have a trend of living with people that you want to work with. Is that just kind of like a diving in thing, or is it just like being friends and then it ends up being?
I mean, I kind of just always thought like it was a good idea to be, because the quote like you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? So I figured, I don't want to spend the most time with people who are just going to smoke weed or people who are just going to drink. And I'm not throwing shit at anyone, but I want to be surrounded by, 5 people who are equally as creative as me, if not more, or who are better than me in certain ways that I can learn from, that I can also teach in certain ways as well. And so, yeah, I mean, I've always thought that living with people or just being surrounded, like, in close quarters with people that can push you to become the best version of yourself is a really important thing. And so, yeah, just like living with Ricky for a while, living with Isaiah now, like I see them doing their thing, they see me doing my thing, and I think it just keeps the ball rolling. And for us individually, as a collective, so I think that's an important thing.
Yeah. It sounds like there's a lot of upsides to that type of situation, just starting yourself and being around.
There can be.
Creative,
there can be.
Right. But are there some times when creative juices aren't flowing, you guys are not meshing well?
I mean, yeah, I think that's a part of it too, because you're homies first, but then being vulnerable and creating with each other, that's a different thing too. So sometimes it won't always work. Sometimes it works better than you thought. Sometimes the idea comes out in 5 minutes. Sometimes there for 5 hours and nothing happens. I'm sure you guys have experienced that as well, So it's like, I think it's like a hit or miss, but at the end of the day, if you guys are like good homies and enough to where you respect each other's art, but also want to kind of be a part of that at the same time, like you'll get through that together and you'll prevail. So
yeah, I think that's interesting. Like mutual respect. I think that's really important when working with somebody on
absolutely project. Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like I know we're talking about the homie Dez too. Like Dez is a good homie. He worked on some dope stuff with him. I have yet to send him this verse. I gotta send that to him. He's been pressing me about that. But I think it's good to work with as many people as possible, but also work with people that you can see yourself working with. Because I've definitely been in situations where I've tried to work on music with people where the vibes just weren't right. Then it's kind of awkward, and then you don't really create the best art, and then it just makes you kind of self-reflect, you get introspective, like, well, shit, am I not good enough to work on music with other people, or is the vibe just not right? It's
that's
so
interesting.
Yeah.
So if the relationship's not right in that space, then it just kind of makes you feel less open to creating.
Exactly. Yeah. I think if you force the connection, the music will sound forced. As opposed to if it's an organic connection, you guys kind of met through mutual friends or however the fuck, right? Yeah. Like then you'll hear that in the music. It'll be organic, it'll be natural, it'll sound more.
It's like you can't force beauty.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. That's cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's really cool. I like to tap a bit into, because your lyrics are very poetic. But even in the proposed notion, you brought up Dez earlier, but I'm trying to find my purpose, proposed notions by folks who don't know things.
Yeah.
So it kind of has this like rhythmic flow to it, and it's real smooth. And it's like I said earlier before when we were off camera, it's got this feeling like there's a swagger to it, but it's not arrogant though.
Appreciate it, man.
Which is really cool because it's just like you're flowing with it and you're in your own space. But what is your process when you're creating a lyric like that? Is it you're walking around incubating it and then you put it down and you're like, all right, that's dope? Or is it more like methodical?
Dude, it's crazy because honestly, it just kind of comes. Like, it just kind of comes. Like, it could be a combination of just like writing, like Like in high school, dude, I would not go to school until like fourth period, stay in my house and just write lyrics and just like load beats on YouTube, smoke hella weed, and just fucking write lyrics, you know? So I think that definitely helped me get the rhythm part down and like finding my cadence and my flow and whatnot and what's natural to me. But I think the storytelling and the all that shit that's behind it, dude, honestly, it's either it's something that I'm tapping into or it's something that's within me that's coming out, you know? Because I'll listen to some of my lyrics and I'm like, dude, like, not to be cockier by any means, but just I'll listen like, damn, like, I meant that when I said that, but now I really feel it, you know what I mean? So looking back on a lot of the shit that I've done, it's like, just comes from the time you put in, really. And it comes from just kind of finding your path. I think with everyone has something that they're destined to do or multiple things that they're destined to do. And I think that it just comes from failing, dude, because every time you fuck up or you make a mistake, you're just failing forward. So eventually you're going to fail enough times and that something's going to stick. Like something's going to work, you know? Like I was doing so much with this hip hop stuff. I never would have thought it'd be a house or like an EDM DJ, you know? Yeah. But if I didn't do any of that, I would not be doing the SUEDE stuff. So I think they're both equally as important, you know? Like they both bring me together, make me who I am.
I feel like with the rhythmic and the production side of it, especially with the sounds, does that accentuate the feeling of the words that you're putting out?
Yeah, that
kind of layers underneath it, and you're like, this is like
exactly
the anchor, but like this is all the shit underneath that you're gonna feel
straight up. Exactly, because and I think that they go together. It's like peanut butter and jelly. Because like one of my favorite artists that has inspired a lot of like the lyrical work is Jenkins. He's I don't think he's from Chicago, but he lived in Chicago, was growing up out there, and a lot of his wordplay and stuff like that is insane. But I think it just comes from the jazzy, like neo soul chord progressions that are under the lyrics, and then like the Anderson .Paak type drums like on top of that. Like it's just a whole vibe. And I mean, it's a whole package deal. So like you can't have the dope lyrics without the sick chord progressions, without the sick drums, you know, it just all comes together.
Yeah.
So
it's almost like, you know, you absolutely correct me if I'm wrong. It's just a view in your journey as an artist, but you're going into exploring more of the EDM realm a bit. And that's all, I mean, that's primarily sounds and feelings, less so than vocals. But then hip hop is almost notably known for, you know, what do you spit and what are your bars? Like, what are you making? What are you saying? What's your poetry?
Yeah.
And it's cool because that could almost accentuate your overall value or your overall expression as an artist because you're going into this space that isn't naturally your medium.
Yeah, true.
And then growing and going to like a foreign land musically and then coming back or wherever you are and being like, look at me now. Not egotistically, but like, here I am more of what I am.
Yeah, and just kind of
look at my artwork.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, well, like guys, like you kind of just worded it perfectly. Like the hip hop, at least like the lyrical, like conscious rap, that's primarily the story you're telling, and it's that's the focus of it. But then EDM is the sound, and so kind of being able to do both and stepping in and trying to make EDM, dude, it's a whole new world. Like, you're trying to learn how to produce again. So it's like it's been fun. I've been taking my time with it, trying to get it down. That shit's fucking way different though, you know. So,
really?
So after I finally kind of get my hands on that, like making house is cool, making rhythm is dope. I'm trying to like find my own sound inside of that. And it's taking its time, you know, so I'm not trying to force it, but at the same time, like, being able to step back, play my guitar, and then lay some drums over that, like, it's just dope to be able to do both, you know? So, yeah. Definitely a new world, though. Shit's completely different.
For sure. Yeah. You were talking a bit to it earlier, but you're saying that sort of helped you feel more comfortable because you have a music background getting into this EDM field felt a little bit more natural for you, though.
Yeah.
You had a familiarity with, like, beat production and...
Absolutely.
You know, how to flow and just that musical ear.
Yeah, like song structure and stuff like that too, especially with house, like the beat's always the same. Like if you just bring, you know, a song in during the middle of a drop, you know, like it's not going to sound good.
Right.
So kind of finding the flow in how I want to spin and like telling a story within the songs that I'm playing itself, that's kind of something I picked up from the production and just from writing songs too. So it all kind of goes together in some way or not. Maybe it just makes sense in my brain, I don't know, but it's dope. So,
do you see the production of house as like a challenge? Because, like you said, the beat's always going to be the same.
I mean, it can be easy. It can be hard. It's however you want to make it. Like, obviously, like I think house is. It's just like tech house, for example. It's just the drums and it's the bass line, right?
Yeah.
So if you find a really groovy bass line, like something that's dope, and you put drums over it and find like a vocal sample, that's pretty much a house song.
Right.
As opposed to with like hip hop, you know, there's layers and there's instrumentation and then bridges and different shit, right? Yeah. So it just depends, you know, it just depends on what you're trying to go for. Because I think it could be as complicated as you want it to be. It could be as simple as you want it to be. And finding that happy medium of not over or underdoing anything is what makes music, you know?
Mm.
Yeah, you see that sometimes. It seems like songs are just maybe a little too overcomplicated.
Yeah.
Do you ever find yourself in that situation where you're just like, maybe trying to add things that just don't need to be
Oh,
there?
dude, all the time.
Really?
Yeah, especially at first when I started producing. So I was like, yo, this shit's tight. And then 2 months later, I listen back, I'm like, damn, this shit sucks so bad.
That's great.
Because it's like, you're like, well, maybe I need to add these steel drums. And then maybe I need the saxophone. And the flute sounds cool, too. And it's all these, like, melodies that are counteract. It's just garbage, you know? So I think that's an important thing, too, is kind of overdoing it and then learning how to simplify it.
How to simplify.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because I think, a lot of the best music is simple. Like, a lot of, like, stuff that's on the radio, like top 40s, is 4 chords, and it's usually the same chord progression. You know what I mean? So it's like, less is more, essentially, with music, I feel like.
Yeah.
Simple.
Most of the time.
I think a surprising thing is like getting into watching like master classes of some of the producers I really look up to, trying to learn how to produce, and then they'll show their DAW, and it's just like maybe 7.
Yes,
channels.
yeah.
Channels.
You're like,
what
dude,
the
what?
fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I know Timbaland, he does this thing where he'll just mouth the percussion, like he'll mouth out like the drums or whatever, and then he'll go and find sounds that match like his whatever he's trying to do. And it's just crazy to see people's process.
So wild.
And it's so different. Like I would have never thought to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Like to hum out a melody and then go find the sound that's like that. I don't know. It's just crazy. So it's dope. It's dope.
What's your process like when you're going for, well, I guess either type of production, and does it differ? Like, what's your process of going through? Do you have anything different that you do that helps you out?
Well, I think that like I gotta be inspired. Like I can't. It's hard for me to make music when I'm not feeling like making music, but usually that's when the best ideas come to. If I just kind of force myself to sit down and then start toying around with things. I think the process is similar. Get in front of my computer and I'm like, all right. So I start fucking with things, you know? But definitely, like, if I'm trying to make more bass music or house, I gotta listen to some house bass music to get the sounds down, you know? And then, I don't know. It's different every time, honestly. I don't know if there's one same process I use for each song, but it's different every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just depends. You gotta play around with it, and then if something sparks imagination, and you're like, okay.
Exactly. Yeah, because, I'll sit down, I'm like, fuck it, I'll just, like, play the keys for a little bit, then I find a progression I like a lot, and then maybe I'll find a melody, and I'm like, well, if I just lay this down now, an hour and a half, 2 hours later, I have a full song done, but I didn't practice the piano at all, you know what I mean? So, it's always different, man. Yeah. It's always different.
Do you typically get it done in, like, one go, or do you come back to it a couple times?
See, usually what I like to do is get the main idea of the song done, so, like, I feel like more often than not, I'll get like a chorus done first, like with hip hop stuff. I'll get the chorus done, and then I'll get a verse done, and then I'll record both of them, and then I'll like start writing the second verse, but something will come up, and then I'll come back to it, finish the song. If I listen to it the next day, or like 2 days later, and I still like it, then I'll finish the song, and then I'll like add ear candy and just like shit like that. Like I have so many songs that are done but not done. You know what I mean? That makes sense. So like. The ideas are fully recorded, still haven't mixed or mastered them, and that's the process.
That's cool, though.
Yeah.
It's like you're in your shop and you got blueprints out. You're like a little skeleton. You're like, maybe I'll come back to that one. Maybe not.
For real, though. Yeah.
Flush that one out a bit, throw an artifact in there. Put some Alan Watts in there. I saw that.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
I love that, dude. I was listening to that earlier.
Yeah, man. He's a G for sure.
Yeah.
He's super dope. He's super dope.
Remember the question that I completely linked on before, and it kind of ties in. So, you mentioned earlier sometimes feeling as if the ideas when you're in a creative flow, you're not sure. I think you said, I'm trying to paraphrase, but I said I'm not sure if it comes from within me or if it comes without me, but it just kind of comes.
Yeah.
What do you think that is? Because I've heard that a lot from artists or people that invent things, like some sort of like ether, like the idea flows through you, like you.
Dude, yeah, it's just the flow state. Like it's just that flow of consciousness. Like I don't know. Have you guys seen the movie Soul? Like Soul, it's a Disney movie.
Yeah, it's a part of it. I haven't seen clips.
So the whole premise of the movie is like this guy's like a jazz musician, right? And he dies or whatever, goes to the afterlife, the great beyond or whatever. Yeah. But in the movie, like he goes to this area and it's just all these people and it's like this area where people enter the flow state. And so they go to this place when they enter the flow state. and that's where you're like undisturbed and things are just happening, right? So I think it's a very accurate representation for someone that also makes music, or you're just creative in general, like, or even it could be any field. Like I think we all have a flow state that we tap into where you're consciously doing things, but you don't really know what or why you're doing it. It just feels right, and you're just going with that. Yeah. So it's just that
you're not self-conscious. You're just doing something, just doing it, creating or doing whatever you do.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just you tap into it, and then it just kind of unfolds until you get to a point where like, shit, well, let me figure out what I just did, you know? And then, man, I think it's just, I think that's my happy place, is being, whether it's with house or whatever, or DJing or singing a song, it doesn't matter, like tapping into that state of, like even right now, you know what I mean? Just tapping into that state of consciousness and really being able to just deliver. It's just, that's what it is.
You mentioned playing, curiosity question, but you mentioned playing sports growing up. Do you feel like you ever were able to achieve that through sports as well? Definitely not supposed to be like leading question. I'm just curious.
No, I mean, honestly, not really. Like, because it's just, that's why I feel like it didn't work out. It's just because I got something from music that I didn't really get from sports. Which I'm not knocking sports. I still love. Still love sports now, especially like baseball. I think football is dope too. I think baseball is a huge part of my life growing up. Definitely learned a lot from it, but I can't really say it was the same level of like flow state in playing sports, you know? Yeah. Because creating, I think, is just, it's a very special, beautiful process as opposed to just like doing this thing that's very, you know, like just repetitive, you know? So,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good question though.
We're getting really esoteric here. When you're in, yes, sir. When you're in that flow, though, you get really connected to that life force energy, though, what it really means to be alive. And depending on your own disposition and personality, it depends what that channel is for you. What opens up where you're like, this is the gateway. Yeah. For you is music, but for someone else, it could be wrestling, could be guitar. He wrestled. We both wrestled. Right. Yeah. But it's a different thing for each individual.
Straight up,
and you're connected to that energy, and you feel like you're with the oneness of everything that is life and that awe.
Exactly.
And it animates you. You know?
It does. I mean, it gives you life. Because I think essentially everything is connected, right? One way or not, however you want to look at it, it's all connected. Like you can't really argue it. You know? So whatever we came from is the same thing that we're tapping into. And it exists in all beings. It exists in all life, you know? So I think it's important for us to have something that we're passionate about that gives us the opportunity to reconnect with ourselves or our highest selves or however you want to look at it. Because if you're not passionate about anything, you're just kind of going through life. And, you know, when you're going through this world, like, you know, the world can be shitty. There's a lot of bad shit that happens all the time. And I think that there's beauty in those moments that you spend either by yourself or with people that you can be vulnerable with, and you can dive deeper and you can really let love flow through, you know?
Definitely.
I think that's the most important thing for real.
Yeah, you said a lot in that. I think you might think a line's pretty interesting, but it was from actually a psychologist, but he said artists teach people how to see.
Facts, dude.
But you also, in my opinion, they teach people how to feel too, though. It's like, what can you connect to? And you're saying, oh, my body can feel this emotion. Like, I didn't know I could feel this emotion. I could be this happy. Holy crap.
Yeah,
you know?
See, that's the thing too. It's like, I think everyone has an inner artist in whatever fashion it may be. But it's just that the difference between being an artist and being a person is allowing yourself to express through art. You know what I mean? And your art could be in wrestling. It could be in golf. Like, I think if you are trying to master a craft, it could be a chef. Like, I think chefs are artists all the time. I think being a DJ, I'm just a sound chef, right? So I'm just doing the same things just in a different form, you know? So I think it's, what you said is beautiful, man. Like, you gotta teach, like, artists really do teach people not only how to see, but how to feel. Because it's one thing if you can see what you want to do, but once you can step in your body and feel it, it's fucking way different. It makes it way better. That was dope.
I feel like almost too, what people in any craft are kind of maybe looking at, what Plato called it was like the forms, and it's like the ultimate expression of the thing, that godlike energy. When you're mixing up or when you're doing whatever, you're a wrestler, you're, I don't know, a mechanic, you're seeking that perfection, which I mean, other philosophers argue against that. But it's a nice idea though.
It's dope. Like I can resonate with that, and I can also not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's
But I definitely feel it though, because it's like you're trying to achieve this like godlike state or whatever, but at the same time, it's like
it's already there too, though.
That's what I'm saying. You can't really get there because it's already there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's more like the earth-like. Like, it's all here already. What am I freaking out about?
It's just like the balance of being grounded and also being optimistic and having like those esoteric. Like, it's just all.
It's all layered, man. It all contradicts.
It's nuts, dude.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It's all different tides going back and forth.
Yeah, man. And it's crazy to think that this really ties into any field. Like I'm sure people could listen to this and get, like, if you're trying to be a mechanic, like you could probably pick up something that I said or you said, and it can apply to your life. This is supposed to be about music. It's like, it's really all the same thing. Yeah.
Do you think art really encourages people to be authentic too, and then that helps them create their own artwork or whatever they are?
I think it can encourage people to be authentic, or it can encourage people to not be authentic. But in not being authentic,
that's a really interesting point. Then, yeah.
In not being authentic, maybe you find your authentic self, right? So, if I thought.
Like it attracts people to false idols. I don't want to derail you though.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
But it attracts people to like false idols in a sense.
No, exactly, exactly. Like for me. So I saw Excision, right? And I thought Excision set was dope as fuck. Sudden Death had a very interesting set for me because like I think the music is sick, but it's very like demonic and heavy, like satanic vibes. So it's like. As cool as it seems, I also witnessed 2 people die during a set. So to kind of hear that music and see what he's channeling, and then he does this whole like void thing where he wears the mask and shit. Like it's like, I think it's dope. Like it looks cool, but if it's really what it seems like it is, it's kind of fucked up at the same time. Not throwing shade or anything. Just I think it's dope. Looks dope. Keep doing you, but at the same time, it's like. People can channel different things, and then you can create false idols, and it can go one of either way. But all power to homie for doing this thing. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking about might be overstepping here, but I think I'll go down to an intention too.
Yeah,
definitely. Of the artist and of the listener.
Yeah, but then how responsible is the artist for who I might be overstepping here too, for who they're attracting.
That's true. But it's
like the Conor McGregor's or something, where it's like, what is he becoming at this point? We have a new segment called "Talk About Shit We're Not Qualified to Talk About." I've fallen into it like 5 times in the past 2 episodes, but like Conor McGregor, like what he's becoming now with like yelling at people and saying he's going to kill families and like kill someone's wife. It's like, what are you doing at this point, man? But still, maybe he's a great dude. I don't fucking know. I haven't met him.
Showman for sure.
Yeah. Or is he doing the right thing? Who fucking knows?
I feel you, man. Like you said, it's like you can be as authentic as you want, but then are you responsible for the way people react to your authenticity or not authenticity? It just depends.
What's coming to mind for me is the saying like art is in the eye of the beholder. Right.
True.
So how I think that's interesting. How responsible is the artist for what they put out?
Yeah, I feel you because I think. Me and my girlfriend actually had an interesting conversation going back to the whole sudden death thing because it's like as negative or how dark it may seem, he could also just be channeling like his shadow self, right? Like his the negative emotions that he feels, which is something I kind of do with my music and my hip hop as well. Maybe not on the same level and not as red, but it's a similar thing. Like he's tapping into just like emotions that he's experienced, and he's literally just channeling that and packaging it into music and then giving it to the world. And people can respond however they want. So I think, he's doing his thing and it's sick. But how responsible are you for the people that are idolizing you or looking up to you? Like one of my favorite artists is Frank Ocean, and I think that he's done.
You're in good company. It's his favorite.
Dude, facts. Like he's insane. I'm so mad he doesn't drop music, but at the same time, like let the man do his thing, let the man do his thing. So it's like he's someone who has inspired me so much. I could not pay like I don't know. It's just like it's just weird. It's weird how some people in life can give you so much and make you so much of who you are.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like differentiating between them just also being a person who went through shit similar to you and shit that you'll never go through, so it's weird.
Maybe not idolizing them completely, like acting like they're not human too. Which I think sometimes happen when you really fall in love with someone or an idea or a concept, and you're like they're not even human anymore. They don't sin, they don't mess things up ever.
Real.
He's Frank Ocean.
He's a god. He's a fucking god. Yeah.
There's no way he ever fucks up stuff.
For sure.
I'm curious what you think about this. Is a conversation me and my girlfriend have.
I'm gonna pop this guy.
Dude,
go for it, dude.
Cool.
Actually, let's wait for the reaction.
All right, word.
That was like some
I still don't know how to pronounce it. What is it?
Leinenkugels, I believe.
Word.
Don't pronounce it if that's wrong.
That's it right there. Some shit. Go ahead.
So, what's your opinion on artists that have already put out work and they may be maybe not the most moral characters, and they may do something that gets them in a little bit of trouble, And then how do you feel about still consuming that person's art after knowing about maybe some of the things they've done in their, personal lives? Like, it's for you, is that it? Like, I'm not listening to that music. Are you not going to support that person in a certain way?
I mean, I think that kind of falls in with how much do you idolize that person? Because, like, let's say if Frank Ocean is my favorite artist, but then he goes and kills a family of four, right? Like, I might be so hurt because I idolize him so much, as opposed to, like, if Lil Uzi got caught with, like, weed in his... I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of an example, but, like, I might not care as much. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it depends on the circumstance and, like, the fuck up, right? But if I over-idolize them, then I think I'll be a lot more emotionally hurt by what they're doing in their personal lives. Because, like you said, like, I am painting them out to be bigger than they are for me, right? So I think it kind of like a case-by-case situation. But, I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like people fuck up. Like, it's life, And if you're going to support someone through that because you're a true fan, dope. And if you're not, dope. Like, it's really up to you, Like,
it's interesting. I don't know if it's an American thing, but it's so interesting we frame that in terms of extremes, though. It's like he killed a family of four. But what if he just, like, eats his hamburger sideways or something weird,
That's
like,
kind of weird too,
would we still love him if he just was like, or if he was, like, awkward in conversation, we'd be like, I still fuck with your music, though. Or maybe like him more at that point, because he's, like, human. You're like, you created that, but you're a normal dude,
Straight up, though. I think it's cool to kind of see. That's why I like watching interviews, and it's funny. This is my first one, like first official one, because watching artists and seeing how they kind of react and the things that they do just by talking to people and then hearing the music that they make. It's cool to kind of see their personality shine through, just not only their music but just in conversation,
Yeah.
So I think that's dope. I think it's cool.
I think artists. Undoubtedly, I think every artist is going to be interesting for one reason or another.
Yeah.
That's why we get so excited about interviewing people that create.
Yeah, it's just fun conversations.
Yeah.
Open people that are down to talk about
straight up
a lot of ideas and artwork and different things.
For sure.
Definitely don't want to talk in generalities. I'm sure there's some people that
definitely
that
100%
probably wouldn't vibe with. But
talking about shit I'm not qualified to talk about.
Dude, for sure. Definitely met some of those people too, man.
Really?
More power to them, though. That's cool.
What do you see as some of the things that maybe people get into music for a reason, or what makes you think of somebody as like somebody you may not vibe with in the music community?
I mean, I think it's more or less just stems from their character and kind of the reason why they're doing it. Even like I was saying earlier, in the hip hop scene, as opposed to EDM scene, there's, in my opinion, I could be totally wrong. It's just from my personal experience and from the music I've heard. There's just a lot more ego, and it's about like who's the shit. Like, I'm the shit. You're not the shit because I'm the shit. So you can't be.
Yeah.
As in like EDM, it's more like, damn, like Dirt Monkey's like, yo, Boogie T, that was the hardest set I've ever seen. But he's like, nah, because you killed that shit. You know what I mean? So I think it's way more, like, the camaraderie is so much more alive in the EDM scene. And that's something that I don't know, man. I don't know.
Do you feel like hip hop's kind of like lyrical MMA?
In a way,
you're trying to figure out like who's got the better technique.
I think it can be, and that's kind of why I don't really want to like brand myself or consider myself to be a rapper, because then I don't have to fight in that ring. I can do my thing, kind of like a Frank Ocean, how he kind of fucking puts his music out and disappears for 5 years now, and who knows if he's gonna put music out. He has hella music that you want to hear, but it's like I kind of respect the artistry in that, and even shit like Tyler the Creator has done, where he can make a fire-ass hip-hop album, but then make this, like, beautiful, like, pop, future, like, way... I don't even know how to explain it, but it's cool to be able to see artists be artists, as opposed to just being this one-trick pony. Like, I love rap music. Will always love rap music. But I think I'll always love, like, timeless music more than that. Yeah. Doesn't matter what genre it's in,
And would you say that that's what you're trying to set yourself up to, is not having to put yourself into a box, and so further down the road, you're not owing anybody anything. I mean, you never do, but you have less of a responsibility to make a hip hop album.
Absolutely, yeah, and exactly. And I mean, if I don't see this happening, knock on wood, I don't see this happening. But if by chance, I get so involved in the EDM scene that I don't want to do hip hop anymore, my name is, I'm still myself. Like, it's still Ethan Ramos, but like, I have this alias or this alter ego that I can go by, and I started as SUEDE and I can finish that as SUEDE. Or I started as Ethan Ramos, I can finish as Ethan Ramos. Or I can just do both for as long as I can, you know? Yeah. And so it's kind of cool to not put this pressure on myself to infuse hip hop and house. And what if this is too housey, but there's not enough 808, so it's not hip hop. Like, it's putting that stress on myself, it's just like something I didn't want to do, you know? So kind of creating those two timelines, I can dabble in both and hopefully be timeless in both, you know? Like, that's ultimately the goal, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How fucking cool would that be? Some, like, I can't think of any that do. I'm sure there is some out there, but, you know, some big name hip hop artists that can go to the club next door and, like, spin some.
I think that should be sick. I mean, I know Frank Ocean was doing something, just not to fucking praise Frank. But I know he was like he's like DJing at some club in New York, like spinning like some remixes and shit that he'd been working on, you know.
Yeah,
so it's cool. Like, and that's what I'm saying. You know, it's dope because he could go play a show, but then after he's fucking mixing house, and it's like same dude, completely different vibe. You know, so being able to give people different flavors of yourself, I think, is super dope. Like, that's just kind of what I'm striving to do. So, yeah, it's fucking sick, you know?
Sorry, one question. If you were to describe yourself as an ice cream flavor, you mentioned flavors, what would your flavor be?
Dude.
He's like, I've been preparing for this question specifically all night.
I don't know, man. I don't even know. I don't know, dude. I'm just the whole 31, I guess, like. Consider myself Baskin Robbins. You know?
All right.
I'm not the flavor on the shop. You know what I mean? Not to like tie myself up, but I don't know. I just don't think I could like dye myself to be one specific thing. One day it's butter pecan. One day it's some sherbet. I don't know. So.
Well, I think what I'm hearing from you a lot, and being able to do that takes the ability to step away from ego. And you've mentioned ego a couple times this far.
Yeah.
How do you detach from? I mean, you can't entirely detach from your ego.
Yeah, I think yeah.
It seems like you're able to either not recognize it in a certain way or kind of just step aside from it. Where did you pick that up?
How do you keep it so fluid?
Dude, I think it just came from personal experience. You know, finding inspiration from Alan Watts and Terrence McKenna and the stupid decisions I've made over time. I don't know how much you want to get into that, but
much as you want to go.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll keep it. We'll just keep pushing.
Okay.
All right.
I think it's just from we are all thinking the same shit, but I think it just comes from.
We've talked about that. Yeah.
It just comes from those experiences. You know, like I think it's just the people you meet, the things that you've done. Fucking psychedelics have been a huge influence in my life, and I'm not afraid to talk about that. It's definitely helped me to dissolve my ego, and I've had experiences that maybe not a lot of people will get to. A lot of people probably have had similar experiences, and I think that ties into just becoming the person that you are, you know, just walking the path that you have. Because I'm sure when I was 16, I put on my first song, you know, with Sam, like I was like, dude, I'm the shit. Like, I just put out my first song, got thousands of plays. My fault.
You're good, man.
Got thousands of plays. Like, I'm the fucking big guy on campus, you know?
Yeah.
Then I leave high school. I'm like, shit, dude. Now I gotta go to school. I gotta go to school again, you know? And I had no production knowledge. Like, I had no fucking plan, dude. I had no connections. I didn't even know how to record. I didn't know how to track anything. Everything was betting against me until I moved to Chicago. Shout out Dave again for that too, man. Because if I wasn't given the opportunity, if I didn't take a hold of that and really, really put in the time to learn how to produce, because I was getting tired of using these YouTube beats, I was like, dude, what's gonna make me sound different aside from like my voice? Yeah. You know, because anybody can download a beat from YouTube, put it on SoundCloud, and blow up. But I thought the only thing that was gonna set me apart from that was getting more musically inclined and diving deeper into the process. And I think DJing has helped me to dive even deeper because now, like, my brain is operating on a completely different level with the EDM shit. And so, like you're saying, the sound design and the sound selection that they use can influence the hip-hop music or the R&B shit that I'm trying to make over here, too. So, maybe one day Ethan Ramos and SUEDE will become one thing, but for now, I'm going to keep them, you know, keep them as they are. But,
I think that would be very interesting. But yeah, that moment moving to Chicago, it sounds like you've had a couple pivotal moments, but definitely moving to Chicago.
Yeah.
Do you think, would it be fair to say that just putting yourself in a situation where you feel kind of submerged and like you don't know anything, does that help die down the ego a little bit for you?
Dude, yeah. I think something that I realized is like, for the rest of my life, I'm always going to know what I know, and I'm going to know what I don't know, but I will never know what I don't know. That makes sense. Like, you don't know what
you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. So becoming comfortable with the uncomfortable, like, that is the only way you're ever going to grow. Like, you can't grow inside of your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. So as shitty as it is to completely remove yourself and put yourself in a whole new space, environment with different people and different ways of thinking and shit, like, doing that is the only way you'll ever, maybe not the only way, but I think it's a really good way to grow as a person and become, you know, the best version of yourself, maybe. Just because if you stay like in the same city forever with the same friends doing the same shit you've always done, how much growth did you really make? When there's an entire world out there and there's endless things that you can do. You know what I mean? So, dude, that Chicago experience was definitely, like, probably one of the most pivotal moments. Jeez. Pivotal moments in my life becoming an artist and just trying to figure this shit out. There's been a few for sure. So, it's wild.
It's so big, man. Well, so how is the, and I don't know if you were talking about this from personal experience earlier, but you're talking about how possibly mom or dad, or just we can generalize it to other influences in your life or people's lives kind of pull you different directions. How has the support been in your life? Has it been there consistently? Is it something?
I mean, yeah, I would say that I'll start with my parents first. I think my parents have always been, like, supportive of the fact that I wanted to pursue music and I wanted to be creative in general. I think my mom growing up, she was born, so I was born in New York. She's from New York. So she was in the music industry in, like, the Bronx. She grew up during, like, the whole, like, the birth of hip-hop, like, Grandmaster Flash and all that. Like, she was going to, like, those shows and shit. So she's always been involved in music. Yeah. And she, like, was an A&R, like, managed, like, some dope people back then. So I think she's always kind of respected that. And my stepdad, I don't know my real dad, so my stepdad, he's also super creative and does his own thing and played music when he was growing up, too. So they've always been supportive of it. I think it's just, like, how realistic is this goal that you're trying to pursue? Mm-hmm. So until I was like, fuck, dude, I need to learn how to make money from this. Like, until I kind of figure that out, and I'm still trying to get this ball rolling completely, obviously. Mm-hmm. But, you know, with DJing and the opportunities at bands and stuff like that, I think it's kind of become more normalized for them. Sure. Which at one point when I was just, like, at my crib, like, day 76 of making beats and eating Doritos or whatever the fuck, like, you know, like, eventually, like, yo, you gotta kind of figure this out. So I've been doing that since. I think I'll always be trying to figure out, like, what my next step is, but I think just kind of go with the flow is the best way to do it. Yeah. But the support from them has definitely been there. I think, you know, my core friends, like the people who I, like, grew up with, and the people, there's always gonna be those people that have always supported you, and then there's just those people that, like, support you when it's cool to support you. You know what I mean? Like, oh, now you DJ at bands, bro. Like, you remember fucking Junior? No, I don't remember Junior. Because you were a dick. And you know you were a dick, you know? So it's funny.
That's so true.
It's funny to run into those people too. Like, oh shit, now you want to say so. Okay, cool. But, you know, like, yeah, man, I think I've had support, you know, even if it was a little bit, like, definitely receiving a shit ton more support now, but it's humbling. It's humbling because I'm not nearly where I want to be, and I'm definitely a lot further than where I was. So it's cool to kind of be at this point in time and just keep pushing it forward, you know?
It'd be really interesting to see your fans from your hip hop, music, if they transfer over to your DJing.
I mean, I think that's something I want to do too, because, like, hip hop has its, like, a stigma around it, and it's like, if you love rap, you don't love country, you don't love indie rock and shit like that. But it's like, it would be cool to be this person that
ambassador.
Yeah, almost, right? Yeah. Like, I'm like, yeah, like, this hip hop shit's dope, but, like, look at how dope house is. Like, did you just hear that shit? Like, this shit's sick, you know? So, I mean, I think it's cool to kind of maybe be a bridge for people too. Like, King Toronto was a huge bridge for me getting into, like, EDM and shit like that, because he has music with, like, the internet and with Jenkins and a bunch of cool ass people. But the way that he can bridge, just house with hip hop, it's just in the fucking percussion and it's insane, dude. So that's been dope.
I think genre benders are some of my favorites just because I think they're very important.
Definitely.
It lets people know that there's other shit out there than this genre.
For sure. No, absolutely, man. Like, I think that's essentially kind of what I want to do. You know, like, I kind of want to be someone that kind of not raises the bar, but kind of opens the playing field for people. So, you know, maybe there'll be an Ethan Ramos SUEDE collab and people, you know what I mean? That could be cool too. Yeah. I don't really know how that's going to play out yet, but I know that it's in the works. I'm trying to figure that out. So,
like you said very well. I mean, you're creating bridges between genres too. It's something you said you're kind of passionate about. Is just showing like how these different things can connect, which ultimately creates more creative stuff.
Straight up, and I think inevitably through the experience I have with the hip hop and this new field and like the shit that I'm learning from just like my friends or just whatever, like just going to shows, inevitably I'm going to bring aspects of both genres together. So, I mean, shit, you never know. We'll just see what happens, really. Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude.
What do you think some of your intentions are, moving forward in music and as a person, as Ethan Ramos is?
Yeah, so I'll speak about Ethan Ramos and SUEDE. So as Ethan Ramos, I definitely want to do more like FKJ, like Masego type shows where I'm not just like, all right, press like a DJ's behind me pressing the button. Now we're going. No, I want to make it more of like a live loop interactive experience where I'm playing all the instruments or that I'm playing music with the band. Because when I had played a show with some of my friends, and so we had like a drummer, a bassist, and a guitar, and I was performing the song, and the energy I felt from that, I played at Hotel Congress too. So it was a sick ass show. Like,
awesome.
It was so dope, So that experience of playing with the live band kind of gave me a similar feeling to like going to an EDM show where it's just like loud and it's in your face, as opposed to going to a hip hop show. Like I've seen Drake, I've seen like Ugly God, Lil Yachty, Russ even, and like they're dope shows, but the music's behind you and you're here. So I'm like here to watch you, but I'm here. I want to be there for the experience. So as Ethan Ramos, I want to provide that live instrument, like I'm picking up a guitar, but then I'm gonna play the drums, and if I learn how to play saxophone, shit, maybe that'd be dope too,
Yeah.
And I think until I can kind of crack that down, I don't really want to just go and play shows as Ethan Ramos when I can just play shows as SUEDE and kind of already be doing what I want to do with that. Because I don't want to just pick up a microphone and have a DJ just play my song. Like I've been there and I've done it. I'm not shitting on it. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
But it's just I feel like I've grown and I want to, there's a reason why I taught myself these instruments. I might as well use them. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I feel like because I love rapping R&B too. But like I feel like getting into EDM, like you said, it's more of an experience, I think, and then going and hearing people, and not obviously everybody does this, but just like saying lyrics over the background music is like it's cool. I appreciate the music, but at the same time, I feel like I could also be listening to that at home.
Exactly,
it's a different experience.
It's an experience, but it's like I don't really want to watch an artist for 2 hours just sing songs I already know, because like you said, I could just watch the shit on YouTube and it's the same thing. Yeah. Unless it's someone maybe like Tyler, the Creator, who puts on more of a show.
Yes. But
there's a gray area between that. So I feel that.
Yeah. Been to a couple, and I'm not going to name names because I don't think it's worth the hate at all. Mm-hmm. But there's certain shows where it's just like,
yeah. No, definitely.
Underwhelmed, impressed,
Yeah, overhyped, underdelivered type shit. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. But I think it's funny, man. Yeah. So that's what I want to do as Ethan Ramos. But as SUEDE, dude, honestly, I'm still new to this shit, so I don't really have an end goal. Mm-hmm. But something that I want to do with both is almost like an Excision, Lost Lands, and like a Tyler Creator Camp Flogna. I don't know if I could merge them together, but that would be sick. Lost Lands and Flogna together, that should be sick. I think if it's done right, it could be really fucking cool.
100%. If it's a good idea and it's a lot of hard work behind it.
Absolutely, yeah.
But if it's a great idea, it can be done.
Yeah. I think
essentially how Flogna. Well, I guess both examples, Flogna and Austin. That's how it starts up as an idea. An artist is like,
no one's done it yet, and they say, hey, that would be cool, and try to create it, which is pretty cool, and that exists in the realm of what you don't know.
Exactly, right? And then being able to bring that from that realm that does exist, but you're not really tapped in.
Yeah, you're unconscious of it.
Exactly.
Expand your consciousness. That's also what you do physically. Yep. It's trippy.
It exists somewhere, you don't know it exists somewhere. It exists somewhere. So bringing it from that realm into this realm, just making it real, you're just manifesting it, So
it would be one of the drives of the human condition too, is we do that, we make the unconscious conscious over time.
Damn, that's fucking deep, dude. Yeah.
It's not wild.
That's wild. No, I mean, especially because you think about how everything started out, the unconscious was so much bigger than what was conscious, but now it's as consciousness grows, maybe the unconscious grows too. I don't know.
What do we do with what we don't know? We usually mythologize it or talk about it.
Yeah, put it away, right? You kind of
or myths and symbols are a way of making your psyche more familiar with it. That's what we would do about North America when we only were in Europe, or uncharted areas. Even in America, when we hadn't explored the other side of America, we were like, "There's dinosaurs over there. There's something over there. I don't know what it is."
That's crazy.
That's what we do. And then now there's no real physical. And now we've kind of done that with physical space, not the bottom of the ocean. Now we're doing it with space, but then we're also doing it with our consciousness.
Straight up. And it's all the same thing, too. Mm-hmm. Wild.
So you're like exploring psyches as an artist to an extent.
Straight up.
Or experience.
Yeah, I think that's why I think like psychology and music go together so well, too. Because like, and in philosophy, it's all connected. I think just through music and psychedelics together, usually.
It's helpful. Right?
Yeah. I think through those two mediums, like, especially combined, it opens you up to these new ideas. And it's something that's always been inside of you, but you're just tapping into it. Mm-hmm. Once you kind of, go ahead.
Sorry, I have a bad habit. I think good. Out loud, so sometimes I'll be like, blah, 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 like when I have a thought and then I interrupt someone. But you could say what you're kind of tapping as having an awe response, like AWE, and then you see something, you're like, whoa. And then that's one of like the pivotal drives for people is we have an awe experience that's either really positive or negative, I would think. And that kind of orients our behavior.
Yeah, straight up.
But then when you're on having a psychedelic experience, it really increases the experience.
Absolutely.
And then connectivity and kind of what you're getting at here.
Definitely. I think that's the difference between like having like a good trip and a bad trip, right? I think having a bad trip is a good trip in disguise. It's just that you weren't ready for what you're now exposing yourself to or whatever the substance is exposing you to. So essentially, I think you can get good lessons out of any experience, even though it could be a shitty one. Like, it just depends on your perspective and allowing yourself to change your perspective. You know what I mean? Because it's easy to look at something and say it's good or it's bad. But nothing's inherently good or bad. It's just the association we give said thing, right? Mm-hmm. So being able to like literally just look at it from a different perspective completely changes the game.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like with music, it's like, at one point, when I was 18, 19, I was probably, dude, I can't fucking do this. Like, there's a laundry list of shit that I need to figure out how to do before I can ever do it. Then you start hacking away at it, little by little. You're like, okay, maybe I can learn how to mix and master. I don't really know how to use Photoshop, but maybe I can make cover art, Especially when you're a starving artist and you don't have money to pay people to mix your shit or to do your cover art, So I kind of started from the ground up, got Photoshop, learned that shit in high school, and I just fucking ripped it off the internet and... Hopefully I don't get in trouble for that, but you just gotta kind of finesse it. You gotta kind of make your way. If you really want it to be something that you want to do, you gotta just do it. Like, there's no other way. That's why I'm trying to tell people like that are like, oh, dude, like, teach me how to DJ. Like, teach me how to DJ. Like, I'll show you how to DJ, but you gotta teach yourself. Like, I'll show you what the knobs do, and I'll show you that, okay, this BPM does with this, and if you want to mix in key, you gotta learn this. Like, and you can teach a man a fish, or you can give a man a fish, And it's like, it's after you teach them, it's up to them to go out and do the thing that you teach them, So it's crazy, bro. You just gotta want it, I guess. Just like with anything.
Yeah. It's so interesting, too, that analysis paralysis, which you've tapped on a lot, but that's the equivalent of looking at the rod and then the fish and be like, I can't do that shit.
Yes.
They're too slimy and they move too quick. I can't be touching those things. And then,
for real, though.
And then people are just like, you just do this, man. You'll figure it out with time. But then people get so stuck on looking at the rod and the fish, and then just like sun's beating down on them and they're just freaking out.
And that's
the rod.
Yeah.
That's the thing, too, that like with the whole, and I'm not like making an excuse or anything, but with the whole pandemic and then stepping into this like world of SUEDE or whatever, I kind of forgot what it's like to consistently release music. So now I'm like, well, fuck, like now I took this break, like I want to make sure I have a solid like plan, but maybe almost trying to figure out a grand plan is the thing that's halting me from putting music out.
That's a really good point.
You know what I mean? And I think I'm just like realizing that now as we're talking about it, but you just gotta do it, like I'm saying. So maybe I should take my own advice and just push it out.
Yeah.
That's how I got here, so I might as well keep doing that.
Yes, sir. I think a big trend in that too. It's fear for one reason or another, you know, or maybe it's also just being responsible and saying, "Hey, I want to create the best thing I possibly can. I want to take this seriously."
Yeah, it's finding that happy medium between the two.
But is that the pressure that creates the gold or the diamond? It's like you need that little,
you need both,
and then it creates it.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah. Honestly, because it's like I have shit that I made years ago that like I still want to put out, but now, when I finally get around to putting out the music that I'm making, like in this time, what am I going to have done then? In a year or 2 years from now, am I still going to think the shit that I did today was good? Like I like a lot of the stuff that I've done and I respect it for what it is, but it's I'm still I'm on the pursuit of trying to find or just create that sound, you know?
It's kind of, is that where the happiness is though? Or that's where the joy is?
Yeah, it's like
the ride,
yeah,
on the wave.
It's the ride. I was gonna say it's behind it, no, but it's the whole journey, you know? It's not finally getting to that point, it's the process of getting to that point. Because that point might never come. And that's probably the beauty in the struggle, I guess, is realizing that it doesn't matter if it ever comes, because you're supposed to enjoy it while it's here, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah, man. I think a lot of not a lot of people, but some people that I met, they're like, oh, dude, like when I play Coachella, like I'll be happy, or when I have $1 million, I'll be happy. And it's like, bro, you're gonna be real fucking sad for a long time if you don't ever play that, because it's like, I don't know, I think it's just the wrong mindset to have. It's like, oh, when I open for Subtronics, I'll be happy. Like, nah, dude, I've been happy the whole time. Yeah. That's why I'm opening for Subtronics. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that a lot more than people realize, your emotions are going to spill over into everything you do. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to having stage presence as an artist or a DJ, if you're not authentically passionate about what you're doing, people are going to know.
Yeah.
Even if they're not consciously aware of it, they'll be like, oh, this dude's all right. Like he's not bad at DJing, but I'm not having the best time. You know? So
you always talk about, you were talking earlier about tapping into like a vibration, almost like a space where you're in that creative space, and the vibe's got to be right with a certain partner if you're going to create something beautiful. You can't force beauty, which is kind of something. Beauty was something you got to force beauty.
I did it too. What I said,
which is something.
What am I talking about?
But boobity blah, 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 blah. Getting into that space with someone, but I think that's so interesting what you've been sharing about that, because you can't go up and fake it. You got to actually be in that space and generate that feeling and that creative
I'm
realm.
Saying, man, like a lot of people say fake it till you make it, but like what happens when you make it? You fake it the whole time. Like, it just comes back to being like the whole authentic thing. Mm-hmm. I personally struggle with that too, because I'm like, fuck, like how much of what I'm doing is what I really want to do versus what I think I want to do.
Yeah.
But when the feeling is right, that's how else would you know if something's right if you don't feel it, you know? So so fucking it's a journey, man. It's a journey for sure.
It's a relationship, it sounds like, almost too, with like this space, this like psychological, energetic, spiritual space.
For sure. And I know it's a thing, you know, like I feel it. I am living inside of it. Like the universe is its own living thing, and we're just all pieces of this grand puzzle, you know? So I think that's also where the humility came from, and the like ego death experience was realizing that like shit is literally infinite. And in my short ass finite life, am I gonna think I'm this big guy, or am I gonna fucking just respect where I'm at and kind of just do my thing, you know?
Yeah, so. It's like you're entering that space, but you're not, and you're sort of creating it, but you're not, like your ego doesn't hold it and pull the lever. Yeah, you know, you're kind of going into it.
Yeah, it's definitely a spectrum thing too. It's not like I don't think you can be one or the other all the time, but it's constantly flowing back and forth. And I think that's healthy, because we didn't have the ego. You didn't prioritize like your life.
Probably would never make music, maybe, or be conscious.
Exactly, right? Because you'd be like, well, I don't need to do it.
I am the music.
I just appreciate the music that already exists, because it is me right now. Like,
like this asshole.
Yeah. So I think finding that balance is important too, and it's just something that I think everyone's just going to constantly strive for until we go. You know, so.
Yeah, framing it in terms of it being limitless too is really interesting. I was listening to a podcast recently where they talked about that concept, but it's like looking at it like a limitless game, like infinite games in some ways, and your love and passion and process of music, from what you're sharing, sounds like that's an infinite game for you. Now there's finite milestones in that infinite game
for sure, but
like Subtronics coming up,
which is dope, but still finite. For sure. Yeah.
And there's that infinite process that you're surfing on. It's like, I'm just creating dope shit.
Just riding the wave, man. That's where I think the whole inspiration for creating this like infinite, timeless music comes from. Yeah. Is tapping into this infinite, timeless source. Like, it's fucking crazy to think about. Damn, that shit just hit me like that. But no, literally though, man, like that just makes the most sense, because it's like, it's more or less of just trying to find your sound inside of all the sound that already exists. And I mean, there really is no your sound, you know, it's just kind of finding and tapping into that frequency that you can just channel and give to the world, however you do it.
It's kind of like your surfboard and stance on the great wave that is music.
Straight up, because the wave's already there, and there's other surfers, you know, but you're just on your board. And
like, I got this wood, and I made it. Yeah. This is my life. And like,
straight up,
this is my meat suit. Like, we're going to do this. And you go and you swim it. That's fantastic, man. It's beautiful.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that was as well. That's amazing.
Thanks, man.
That's sick. Yeah, I think that's all important, man. Like, it's just kind of paying homage to the fact that you're not the first person to do it. You're not going to be the last person to do it. So you might as well be the best version of yourself at that, you know? Mm-hmm. I think that's fucking...
Enjoy the ride, too, man. Just and not worry so much about every little thing, maybe, if we can help it, you know?
For real, because, I mean, it's ultimately it's up to you. Like, it's a lot easier said than done to get your step out of a negative mindset or something like that. But you can, whenever you're in a negative mindset, you can always remind yourself to channel it into something that is positive. Something that is positive, right?
Yeah, it's kind of the alchemy of it, you know?
Yeah.
Turn it into something new.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that that's something that a lot of us forget to do. I'm definitely guilty of that. Yeah. But when I am feeling down, I'm feeling shitty, instead of just telling myself, hey, man, just be happy, I could channel.
Didn't work. Damn it.
Fuck, right? Like, instead of just telling myself that I can channel that negative emotion into something that is going to ultimately be positive for myself.
Yeah, it gives you some agency too. You know, you got a direction, a rudder on your life. You know,
absolutely.
Where you're moving. You know, I want to get out of the rocks a little bit. And you
exactly.
Can do it.
Yeah. Damn, that's straight up, man. I'll take it.
Take a cheers to that. But some things, like you kind of tapped about this earlier, and we had a podcast recently where we were talking about Mac Miller. That's mine, yeah. But like him and his sadness and what he was struggling with the beautiful music you created.
Insane, dude. Right? Insane.
But some people would argue, hey, you need that as kind of like, you know, if there's a forest fire and you get the ash and then you get a lot of plants growing out it. That's kind of what that sadness and that depth and that raw emotion is. It lays the groundwork to let all these new things blossom up.
Straight up, though, like the negative experiences that you go through create the foundation for you to build positive things on top of them. Because it's like, I have this conversation with a lot of my friends all the time. Like, if everything was all good, you would never know what's really good. You know, the world would be gray, essentially, because without the darkness or without negative, you wouldn't have less yin and yang, you know? Yeah. So, in the case of Mac Miller, like the whole swimming and then the circles, like how those two albums coincide and go together really well. It's crazy because it's like, ultimately, we're just swimming in circles. Like, we're going through the negatives to make positives out of them and then going back into it. You know?
That just hit me, too, because that's one of the names of...
Swimming in circles.
Yeah, swimming in circle, like the two. Yeah. So circles came out after he died.
It's posthumous too. Yeah. So it's like the whole fucking
It's crazy. Man.
Oh, dude, that just hit me, dude.
Yeah.
Do you have a good memory? Can I do a quick aside?
Go ahead. Yeah.
And you may know this, but the last note,
dude. I was about to bring that up. Yeah, crazy.
The very last chord, and the second album is kind of it's out of tune. It's not in key. A lot of people are like, what the hell? And
like, why would he end on that chord?
Because it doesn't make sense. God. It is the first chord.
Yeah, dude, fucking goosebumps. Yeah.
I think I might start crying, dude.
I feel you, man. It's a beautiful thing.
Do you think he did that? Hot take. Do you think do you think he like ended his life almost, maybe? Do you think that was an accident after that thing? Because he was like, I'm done. I created, like, this is like swimming circles done. Final note.
I mean, fuck, dude. Whether he did or he didn't, it's almost like it happened for a reason.
Definitely, for sure. Yeah,
and he went out on that note. Like, inevitably, he's just going to keep swimming in circles. And that's just what it is. So, fuck, that's
extremely heavy.
Deep.
That's a good point.
That's something for sure. That's crazy, man. Like, he put out bodies of work. All amazing. But, like, to end on that note is almost like, did he intentionally do that? Or was it the shit that he was channeling that just kind of worked through him? I don't know. But that's something for sure.
It makes you wonder.
Yeah.
Like the music video for Self-Care, too. He's, like, in the coffin. You know, it's like, I think that shit's crazy, man. I think it's crazy when artists, like, almost manifest or predict their own death. It's like, how do you know it's coming?
Yeah. And even Trippier, too. He's like, I got nothing, no control over it. It's going to happen. And he's like, I'm just along for the ride. This is where it ends.
Jesus.
I'm already dead.
I think it was tapped in, man. Something similar.
Maybe it's like a psychic
XXX Tentacion. Same thing.
He's saying he's going to die.
One of the last videos he put out was him at his funeral.
Yeah, for real, dude.
Oh, God.
Then the little,
more chills. Come on.
The Lil Uzi thing, too. Like, he, like, said, like, he's going to die at 21. Like, fuck the 27 club. I'll die at 20. I think that's the lyric. I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. But that's the idea. And then fucking happens, you know? That's why I think it's important to, like, I mean, I guess you never really know what you're channeling or what you're tapping into, but to kind of create from a positive space and not...
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe you have some say over it, and your mindset.
I mean, yeah. Because I think it has to do a lot like with drugs and shit too. Because with drugs, you can get
into those spaces.
You can get not only into those spaces, but you can only exist inside those spaces. So maybe in Mac Miller's case, like he could only create when he was in that mindset because he, in his mind, had the idea that when he's in that mindset, he knows he's connected to a higher power or whatever. And so that's when the best music comes out for him because he's sad, he's doing a bunch of drugs, and he's like, and he feels almost guilty, but it's like a guilty pleasure in a sense that he's on these substances, but he's creating from the most raw, most authentic, vulnerable place in his heart. You know what I mean? So
it's addiction to that state, you know?
It's not even the drugs, it's the state of mind, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because it's the dopamine and the serotonin in your brain. That's what you're really after. You're not after the drug, you're after the feeling.
Yeah.
What you can do from the feeling, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy, bro. That's just crazy.
And he associated maybe that state with that sadness. You're good, man. That state with that environment. And then
straight up,
he couldn't get out of it, and that's just where he was.
And then the end results are like the music is beautiful, you know. So maybe if he didn't put himself through those circumstances, he would not be able to create from that space. He would not have the same shit to talk about. He wouldn't have picked the same chord progressions. You know, he wouldn't have spent so much alone time in the studio just fucking figuring that out because he just wouldn't have been in that mindset, you know. So trying to achieve that sober, like not through drugs, is ultimately the goal, I feel like, for most people. But when you get that like level of fame and you have all this money, so you can buy drugs, like, you can
feed it.
Yeah, you can feed it. You know what I mean? And then he just got fucking drugs from someone that was laced, you know, with fentanyl, and that's something that not me personally I've dealt with, but a lot of like my friends and family have died from fentanyl overdoses. Yeah, you know, so it's like it's fucking scary, man. It makes you rethink a lot of the shit that you do, and it's just like it's sad, dude. It's sad.
I think that's a lot of where addiction may come from. It's not, you know, the substance itself inherently is not like good or bad chemicals, right? It's just our relationship with them.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And if your relationship is thinking that this person brings you to this state that makes you feel incredible, then that becomes toxic. But then we're dealing with chemicals that can kill you, like fentanyl now.
Yeah.
You know, I think just the
game's changing, you know? Which is a good and a bad thing. It's very shitty and it's very like it's depressing because we've lost so many, you know, fucking like Jimmy too. Like he went out at 27, I think.
Yeah. 27 club.
Yeah, right. So, you know, we've lost so many people in the process. But I think with the use of like social media and especially like TikTok and shit too, like I would hope that it's exposing younger kids to like stay away from it, but at the same time it's also exposing them to how accessible it is, you know? Mm-hmm. It's like not to get too like sad or anything, but this past year, I lost my cousin Louie to a fentanyl overdose. The kid is 17, you know, not even out of high school yet, and he fucking died at 17 years old, you know, because he just bought Xanax from a shitty guy who sold him a shitty pill laced with fentanyl, and then, you know, my aunt and uncle had to find him dead in his fucking bedroom, you know, like it's worse, like rest in peace, but it's just like fucked, you know. So that happened. I just found out when I was coming back from Colorado, actually. Like the day I was driving back from Colorado, I found out one of my best friends from high school, this girl I took to prom, she died from fentanyl as well, you know? And I had called my high school best friend, and I was just like, for some reason, I just felt like I needed to reach out to my friend. Yeah. And so I texted her, I was like, hey, like, I hope everything's going well. She's like, honestly, like, I like, it's not. I was like, what's going on? She's like, well, Tori died. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, you know? Same thing. So it's like, I don't know, man. Just a PSA to kids and just anybody, just to stay away from shit like that, you know? Like you said, no chemical is good or bad, but if you're going to do drugs, at least know what drugs you're going to do. Like, at least like, do the shit that you think you're going to do. Yeah. And be positive with it. Yeah. Yeah, man.
And be around people that could potentially help, you know, to listen to the drug, you know. Yes.
But hey, we're all over the place. It's all important, dude. It's all important.
Definitely. Well, first and foremost, man, I'm sorry about your loss.
That's I appreciate it, but you know,
it's inherent. But it's interesting that you talk about that. You felt like a drive to reach out to your friend. It's crazy how that can happen sometimes.
Dude, like just
something's amiss.
Yeah, like, you know, you have those people in your life where it's like, it doesn't matter if you haven't spoken in like 6 days, 6 months or whatever, but every time you talk, you pick up right where you're at. You know what I mean? So that's the relationship I have with my friend Keely. You know, like best friends in middle school, high school. I actually just texted her today. It's so weird. All this shit that happened today is coming up in this. But, yeah, you know, I just like felt the need to my intuition was something I need to reach out to this girl, like for whatever reason. And so I did, and then same day, drive back from Colorado, like, fuck, finally going home.
Yeah.
12-hour drive. And we got to Flagstaff, just outside of Flagstaff, and she texted me that. And I was like, dude, no way. Like, I'm driving, fucking just bawling, like, dude, I just can't believe it, you know? So it's just, it's crazy, man. The universe is crazy, but you just gotta learn from your mistakes, learn from other people's mistakes, and just keep your head down, I guess, you know? But, sir. Not to get too dark.
I'm
man.
sad.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all.
You're good, man. It's just
Sad
the
for
truth.
you.
It's the ugly truth, but that's where the universe is, and I don't think this is where it gets tough with drug education. Is people want to keep kids away from. I think sometimes the
Which
truth
ultimately drags them toward them. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like when your mom tells you, like, oh, you need to be home by 10. You're like, well, I'm trying to stay until 12.
Yeah.
You know, like it's inherently how we work as humans. So I feel you, yeah.
I just don't think we're doing anybody any good sugarcoating the realities of what drugs can do, the addictions, and on the more positive side of things, the potential positives that can come from certain mind-altering substances. It's like we just need to have more discussion rather than less discussion.
Facts. I think, yeah, it's almost like if you legalize every drug and every drug is like in its pure. I'm not saying this would be the best idea, but if you legalize every drug and then you let people make the decision for themselves,
yeah,
it's almost like then if everything was legal, you could provide the proper education for it. And then you don't leave these kids in the dark who are fucking 17 and younger who don't know better. You know,
Yeah.
like they just don't know what they're doing, you know, and they hear it, you know, like it's just in one ear and out the other, like fentanyl, well, not me. It's not going to happen to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it happens to them and they didn't, before they can even realize what they did, it's too late and it's just fucked. So if you're going to do drugs, know what the fuck you're going to do. That's all I'm going to say. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But it's tough, though. It's like trying to warn people about a potential harm that, for some people, obviously, it's right in your face, but sometimes that's too late. You know, a lot of times it's like, oh, like you said, like, that's not going to happen to me. It does. And it's such a hard situation to prepare people for.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a hard thing to talk with your kids about, too, maybe sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, there isn't a lot of education on how you speak with them about it.
Yeah, I
know?
feel like more often than not, we kind of learn about drugs and shit through our friends or through friends of friends and personal experience and whatnot too, you know? So it's like, no, I mean, my parents, like, I don't know what you guys' parents were like. They told me, you know, obviously stay away from this shit, but, you know, if they would have told me about their personal experiences before I, like, kind of opened up about my personal experiences, maybe it would have, like, swayed me, you know?
Yeah.
Different, the pun intended, but swayed me, I guess. But yeah, man, it's crazy, dude. But like you're saying, it's the truth. It's the ugly truth, but it's the truth. And so from that, I think it's like we can take that and we can dwell on it, or we can use it to transform us as a generation and hopefully make it better for the future. Because ultimately, that's what's important, you know?
Yeah. I think the key thing that, I mean, Devin, you were talking about too, is what relationship are you creating with the substance? Is it filling a hole? You know, just maybe opening up the conversation on, you know, addictions of all types, you know? Because a lot of times people will think they're healthy, you know?
Facts.
But people,
Like, dude, I'm in the gym like 5 times a week, like, but still, I feel you.
there are even people that are in the gym that like body dysmorphia, addiction to their image. Like, it's just addiction moves and takes so many different forms.
It's
like
so fluid, yeah.
Yeah, like caffeine, that could be a huge addiction. I'm fucking heavily addicted to it. But like caffeine addiction, yeah, we have a podcast on coffee.
Yeah.
But, you know, caffeine addiction, you know, or whatever it is for you. And just kind of understanding that state of mind, you know, having people just more aware of states of mind, maybe.
True. Damn,
or just their own relationships.
I think that's what it stems from, though, because it's not the drug or it's not the substance that you're addicted to. It's the feeling behind the substance. I feel you. It's just like a facade almost. Like, but I feel you can achieve that state of mind without the use of substances, but the substance is like a cheat code, like it's like the easy way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think you can achieve enlightenment without psychedelics, but psychedelics definitely will maybe get you there faster. Maybe not enlightenment, but open you up to the idea of what it is and reaching that state of just.
I think they call it yogi medicine. It's like a term for it.
Yeah,
it's just like it gets you more into that state.
Yeah,
and you be like, oh, that's the room. And then you can kind of get back to it in other ways.
Exactly. And like once you know that the room, once you know that it's there, like you know it's there. Like you can get there. You know, you don't need to continuously. Like I think Terrence McKenna said, like once Like, it was something about shrooms. It's like once you pick up the phone, like, hang up. Like, once you get the message.
Yeah, James Fadiman.
Something like, someone. But, like, once you kind of understand what it is and where you're at with it, then, like, respect it and treat it as such.
Can punish you after then. I think.
Facts for sure. yeah.
I told you to get out of this room. So, I don't want to take the stairs. So you I want to take the elevator.
No,
come on.
Absolutely. And I think that's
the escalator.
That's a part of it too, though. You know? I think that's a part of it too. Damn.
So taking the lessons out of it. I don't think I've told you this. That's kind of how I came to quit smoking cigarettes. I was mushrooms and.
Dude, I've heard about that too. Because shrooms definitely, I don't know what it is, but nicotine and shrooms is just not the thing. Yeah. It's weird. And I quit too. Yeah. I never smoked cigarettes, but I quit.
Yeah,
I got back on it, and then when I did shrooms again, I was like, dude, like,
am I doing this?
I don't even want to hit it on shrooms because then the thought, it's fucked up, dude. It's crazy. You can't even explain it.
It's weird. Weed did that for me too. Actually, it made me so mindful of how gross smoking was. I was like, it's just not worth it
like
anymore.
Cigarettes or
cigarettes specifically, like the really carcinogenic ones, like the ones where they put the chemicals in there to make you like addicted to it, those ones. Not like
the cigs,
the cigs.
I got you, bro.
Sir. But like compared to, I'm sure there's different types of tobacco smoking that are healthier. I don't know.
Yeah.
But maybe. I don't know. But those type of cigs specifically, and then marijuana, where it was just like, oh, this is gross. You know, took me 2 years to quit after that, but I pulled it off.
Dude, I feel you though. Yeah. I feel you. Addiction is a bitch, dude. Mm. I think it's just about. I mean, we're all addicted to something or multiple things. It's just kind of picking and choosing. You know, like the lesser of two evils. It's like you could have the perspective of like, well, at least it's not heroin, but then it's also like you could be eating McDonald's or like, well, fuck, I could have ate a salad. You know, so it's
exactly.
I don't know, but it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then it become a slippery slope in some cases too. Maybe slippery for some with certain temperaments too. But.
Yeah, and it's crazy because everyone has different like what's the word I'm thinking of like tolerances too.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So different affinities too. Yeah, different things they're attracted to.
Yeah, straight up, and it's just like it just plays into all of it. It's wild.
Very much so.
Well, I think we've taken up enough of your time this year, Ramos. I want to say I really appreciate talking to you.
Dude, yeah,
likewise, man.
It's been a good time.
And I hope
I appreciate you guys for
continue this relationship, and down the road, you come back as Ethan Ramos, come back as SUEDE, come back as yourself, and talk to us about your further journey and where you're at in the future, man.
Absolutely. I'm about it, dude. I'm about it. It's cool, man. You guys are dope people. I'm glad that it wasn't so, like, Ethan Ramos SUEDE centric, but we got to dive into topics that that actually matter, you know, shit that's important, like drugs, like psychedelics, like altered states of consciousness, you know.
Sure.
People that have died, like that shit is what is important, you know. So I'm glad that we're kind of on the same way with that.
Sure, happy we could talk about it too.
Yes, sir.
It was nice getting to know you, man. But what are we looking at? Obviously, we've mentioned this Subtronics show like 10 times.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Also, you know,
what else on the horizon?
Definitely, I have a lot of new music that's coming out. A lot of the more hip hop, R&B stuff. I have this residency at General Benz in Tucson, so I'm going to be playing every week there. Mm-hmm. I have the Subtronics show on August 25th. I'm actually headlining on the house stage at this Endgame Festival in Mesa, Arizona. Okay. That's on September 5th. So I'll be playing that September 5th. And, you know, hopefully I win this Gold Rush competition. I'll be playing there on main stage. So
great.
Fingers crossed. You know.
And where can people find you, just to follow you, keep up with you?
Yeah, I primarily just use Instagram. My handle's Ethan Ramos, but the A's are V's. So ETHVNRVMOS. And then also at I'm SUEDE. So those are my two handles. And then all my music on Spotify, SoundCloud is just Ethan Ramos too.
Right on, man. Thank you, man. Appreciate it again.
Appreciate it, dude. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. We'll do this again soon.
Yeah, cheers,
for sure, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening, everyone. I hope you are feeling as inspired as we are after that. Our conversation with Ethan was a great reminder for us that we as individuals are capable of great things when we put effort towards what we enjoy and what we're naturally attracted to in our lives. We wish Ethan the best and can't wait to continue to watch him grow as an artist and do his thing. Join us next week as we sit down with another local Tucson DJ that goes by the name Mental. Until then, stay caffeinated.